This is Illumination Codes, Decoded. So we're going to be doing chart readings today to weave 3 different activations. And Bella and I have just completed Business Alchemy. So remember how I said Richard Rudd has his activation sequence, his Venus sequence, his Pearl sequence. We're taking you on a journey through these different activations. We started with Legacy, Protocol, Strategy, and Authority, went into Fuel, Journey, Mystery, and now we're at Illumination Codes, where we went into Lead, Rising, and Compass. And this whole three bundle of transformation codes, expansion codes, and illumination codes is what we call Business Alchemy. And those are 6 different activations, or Strategy and Authority isn't really an activation. It's more of, how you live your life and respond. So here is illumination codes. We're going to be weaving these today in your charts. Bella and I are going to do our best to stay focused with your lead activation, your rising, and your compass activation. And we'll give you the little, what are these? Which activations are these? If you haven't gone through any of it. So remember, as we're reading your chart, we're not just a single zodiac sign or a single activation, we're the entire sky. So we look at things holistically. And as you're focusing on just your lead, which is your conscious sun, it doesn't encompass the totality of who you are. And when we are weaving, we're going to be focusing on these, but I want you to know that everything works together. It's holographic and it's also all connected. So the more you pinpoint some of these individual activations, the more you're going to start to understand the parts of your whole. But only you can really understand the inner workings of you and weaving all these things together. So Bella and I are going to do our best to speak to what we see in your chart and what we can extrapolate from the brief time that we're tuning into things. But just know that some of the things will land, some of the things maybe not, some of the things need clarification. But that's why doing individual chart readings with me and Bella is probably the best way to really get the information you're probably wanting to extract from your chart, is doing like 20-minute recording readings or the individual personalized readings where we can ask you questions. We have a lot of time to really get to know you and get to know your chart. But for now, Bella and I are really good at reading charts off the cuff with no prep before. So this is kind of fun for us, and I hope it's fun for you. So our intention is to just illuminate some of the key things we see right when we look at your chart. And hopefully you can dig deeper into that, because we won't have time to give you everything. We'll give you a little snack. Okay. And so the first activation is lead. So lead is your core identity and how your inner life meets the outer world. It's your doing, it's your role. So when you embody your unique individual creative self, you can step up to your mission and into the role you came here to play unapologetically. You're going to recognize this as your conscious sun, but also in Gene Keys, this is your life's work, aka brand, in the Pearl sequence. And the reason that we choose these natal wheels is because we get to see the whole sky, see if you have any clusters of things, see kind of what is going on in and around these different activations, see what sign it's in, what house it's in, and the planet that we're focused on. And obviously, what's really cool about genetic matrices charts is that we also get the gate, which you don't get in the other natal wheels. Because they're not including the hexagrams, the gates, the gene keys. Ah, yes. And then the intent of this wonderful activation is actualizing your true self. So manifesting your creative potential into the world and your special, unique destiny. Is there anything that you feel they need to know about their lead before I go into the other ones, Bella?
This is what's illuminated in this life and what you're here to step into. It's your sun sign. And a lot of things when we start with astrology, especially sun sign astrology, because it is important. It's not everything, but it's important. And it's how you are expressing your uniqueness in the world.
Mm-hmm. The other activation we have is rising. So rising is your perception of reality and your front-facing persona. This is what we also call the Ascendant in astrology. And it's right here. And you'll see it usually on the left side of your chart. It'll have a little AC. It'll be on the cusp of the 1st and the 12th house. And it's a really important aspect. And we dig deeper into this in the Rising Masterclass. And we go into what it means to have your Ascendant in Leo or Libra or Aquarius or any of these other zodiac signs, and why it's an important placement in how you are learning how to become yourself, become your true self. And some of the descriptions of that is the face that you're going to put on in the world. It also can accentuate your physical features. Like Aries is going to have certain kind of physical features or body shape versus Aquarius or Scorpio. And then it's the way you express your emotions impulsively as well. And we go into why inside of the masterclass as well. But for now, we won't go into those kind of details. Anything else you want to clarify about this that might help them?
Yeah, this is more instinctive. So we say forefronting persona, but it's actually the persona that you can't really help but being. It's the Ascendant is really that in the 1st house, Aries, Mars energy, kind of the impulse to be something in the world. So often that can be the first impression, or when you're triggered, you just can't hide that part of you. So a little bit more thinking about it as impulsive and what you came in with, what was on the eastern horizon, and what you're here to be a student of in life. So there is always a little bit of a challenge because there is that impulsivity and spontaneity. That's not always, we know, with human design, that to be too impulsive and not allow neutrality before we react is not always the best way of behaving in the world. So there is a challenge there, and there is something to rise up to, a task that we're here to embody, to integrate, to take in.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then lastly, we have compass. So compass is where and in what way you can shine the most and be recognized for the value you bring in business and in the world. You're going to find this as your MC in this chart that hopefully you have. And it's usually at the top, around the top, depending on the angles. And this one has a lot to do with your public persona as well, but where you have natural outer authority, it relates to your career, to your destiny, to your reputation, to your aspirations. It is usually the 10th house, and the 10th house is Capricornian. It's very much about structures. It's about your career. It's where you're going to figure out what you're here to be doing in what capacity and what sector and what niche, like what's your work here in the world. Anything else you want to share about this?
I feel like this is a place where maybe we don't have to work that hard because it's already there on the midheaven, like in the middle of the sky, the highest point of the sky. And it's already something where we have this kind of inherent authority. So to look here, to know that this area of the chart, the house, and this archetype, for example, if we look at the gene keys or our archetype, the 64 archetypes, this is an archetype that's quite just natural for me to embody, and other people are going to see this in me. So when we take this together with your lead or your son, there is definitely something about how your leadership comes out in the world when you look at the midheaven and the sun, because both are that high point in the sky where it shines, where we shine.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And for those of you that have questions on the MC or the AC and maybe different aspects, we do go into what it means to have, aspects in your nodal environment as well, and different things. Or what if I have a 10th house, or what if I have this or that? Or we speak about that in the masterclass. So if you are wanting to dig deeper, definitely pick up those master classes. They're like $97 a piece, or $264 for the whole thing. And that's how many hours are they? Like 2 hours each or something like that. Yeah, they're pretty long and detailed, and we'll give you support in how to unlock different features and aspects of that. So definitely check that out. And I'll be placing the links to those things as we go. Here's kind of a little overview of that MC, IC, AC, DC axis. We won't get into that, but in the masterclass, we do speak about the opposition points or the polarity points on the other side of your MC and AC. So if you're rising to become your MC, your family life, your home can impact your ability to rise into that. The same thing with your DC, your relationships can impact and affect the way that you're going to be rising into your AC. Anything you want to illuminate about this axis, Bella, that they might need to know? It's in the masterclass too, so more information.
Yeah, just that everything is integration of polarities. Like this life is integration of polarities, and to look at those points, the AC and the MC or the Midheaven and Ascendant, are amazing places where we learn to see that and how important the integration of both programming partners or polarity points are in order for us to really step up to our sovereignty, really step into our center and kind of walk that center. So it's not that we're only supposed to be the Midheaven and forgetting where we came from. No, it's an integration of both. It's those perfect mirror twins that look at each other and they want to be part of an integrated being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll recognize these in your activation sequence. So if you are confused on these polarity points, like remember, look at your life's work and your evolution. Those are programming partners. Those are polarity points. They're opposite on the wheel. And so the challenge and the gift that we have in this lifetime is to be able to balance both of them and be able to bring in the qualities and traits of both of them, because they're going to balance each other. They can dance together, and it's going to help you become more integrated and not just like one-sided as well. Sometimes we have a lot of activations hanging out over here and not a lot over here. And so we tend to be more in that like in this chart in Libra, balancing. But we've got more activations to integrate in more parts of ourselves. If we're too heavy on one side, it's going to come off as imbalanced, and then those parts won't really get to shine as much too. So we want to bring forth all of us. Okay. So yeah, that's it for that. Here's the bundle. I'll put it in the chat later. This is, we'll probably speak about this again later, but I wanted to have enough time to get into charts too. So we shall move forward. You can get these individually or as the bundle. And you can also, for any of the activations, get any of these archetype courses for 50% off with code FREEDOM up until the end of the day tomorrow. So before the weekend, if you want to snag any of these, they're $55 normally, but with the code FREEDOM, you get 55 or 50% off. And then you can dig into some of these lead rising compass activations and dig deeper into what they mean. So you've got lots of support here. You've got lots of opportunities, and you've got us right now. So we're going to be reading some charts.
Well, Ashley, it's kind of a surprise too, because with the PDFs, we don't even know, which kind of chart it is. So we're just going to have to choose.
I know. Well, I can see how Donald says Donald-natal. I know that's a natal chart, but I'm not sure from which place. So we shall be surprised.
Well, because I might stay after you a little bit, let's have you choose something. And also because my bandwidth with hotspot is limited, maybe you start like opening the charts and downloading them, just so that I don't get super blurry or even cut off.
Sure. Let me grab one. Let me see which one I chose, and so if you can read this chart in the beginning, and then I'll catch up, and I'll just download a bunch, because it does take a little bit of time to download. Okay. All right. Well, for this one, we don't have ACMC, but we can focus on. All right. This is not a natal chart, but I guess we'll start with lead. So let's start with lead and illuminate that in this chart. We really need the natal wheel though. So for lead, we have 3.6. That means the eternal child archetype is the leading archetype. This one is all about change, innovation, mutation. This person has the whole channel of mutation. So we've got complete, definite access to that role in the world. And that role is to be innovative, to change things, to never do things the same way. In a way, it's supposed to be able to take different materials and build something with them and construct something with them and then tear it down. So there shouldn't be any resistance to or clinging to old structures, because those structures eventually need to come down for new to come forward. Bella, is anything else you want to share? And then I'll grab another chart too.
Yeah, well, you're kind of a twin. You're born like 2 weeks before me. So I can see what makes me excited about your chart. The cross of wishes is powerful because you have that 3 and that 50. So your lead is this like eternal child that is here to pulsate and mutate and not be sad when the card houses fall or the sandcastles are taken by the sea. It's all the time to continue to innovate and come back to innocence, which is also part of that 6th line that you have in your leader life's work. And what I can see, knowing similar activations in my Pearl sequence, which also has to do with the leadership and how you express yourself in the world, how the masculine penetrates the world, is that you have Scorpio activation. So your culture and your Pearl are the 28 and the 44. So this is the grid worker archetype, and it is also the daredevil archetype. So something with you is here to be very daring, we could say. You're here to have a leadership as a 6-2 and being a role model, and that 32, of course, as your life purpose. It's not to play it safe. And I think that there is something with your vocation or core wound being in Libra and in the 6th line, there might, ask you maybe to be a little bit careful. But I hope that these other things, your lead and your Jupiters, the culture and the Pearl, which we call protocol and legacy in Business by Design, that they are actually allowing you to move forward in the world in a way that is very courageous. And maybe if you have something to say, Harold, just to bring you in and see if there was anything. I mean, we don't have your Midheaven and your AC, but just to hear your voice and see if there is anything more before we move to somebody else. And also just seeing that you have the whole channel of the 360, right? So it's that whole pulse of mutation. You're never here to stagnate. And you can see as well that that's kind of with the 54 as your south node, it might be this thing of like, I have to climb the ladder. But it's not climbing the ladder for the sake of the ladder. It's really for the sake of purpose, which happens to be your Pearl in the 5th line. So you're here to be a master of purpose through that channel of your lead, the 360, which is the individual pulse that sometimes feels like nothing is happening. And then when it's, the pulse comes and the Kundalini starts, or like the breakthrough is, then, it's open for you. So if you have anything to comment, or otherwise it's fine too.
Maybe not.
Powerful to have the south node and their traction in the 54, both of them. So important to not go into the old structures of how you think power is supposed to be. You're here to mutate constantly, and the 31 and the 42 in your radiance and purpose, that is the morphogenetic feel of leadership, but it's very future oriented with the anticipation of what's coming in terms of leadership and where we're going. Yes.
Okay, we ready? I have been pulling up charts galore, so we are resourced.
Let's go.
Okay, I love it. All right. So let's bring up. Okay, Elaine. Oh my gosh, let me close all of these crazy amounts.
Elaine, do you have a question to start with so that we kind of get your energy as we are diving in?
Yeah, I'd like to hear about the MC and the AC because that's kind of relatively new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are a fire sparker. I don't know, but it's really a lot of fire. You have everything you can in fire. So you're Sagittarius in your lead, and then you have Leo in your ascendant, and then you have Aries.
Oh my.
Oh my. How did you do that?
How did you have all of the fire signs, the cardinal, the fixed, and the mutable. That is amazing.
So, I knew I had the Leo rising, but I didn't know anything about the MC until the other day. And I was like, oh, they're all fire.
This is very strong in your chart. You are an initiator of truth. So you see that you have the 51 in 9th house. So that's the initiator, the 51. And the 9th house is about truth. So you're initiating truth. And how do you do that? Well, who you are, what we say your role, your life's work, is to be this Sagittarius, how do you say, like Sagittarius leader or role in the cross of consciousness, which is the same cross as Richard Rudd, for example. And however, what's kind of more impulsive in you is that storyteller of the comedian, of like the stimulator. You're here to come with truth and consciousness, but really the way that you instinctively do that through your rising side is through stimulating people. And sometimes, you're like a little bit like, the way that you stimulate is not in a logical way. It's a way to kind of like see how they react, almost similar to the energy we are in right now with the 39. Sometimes it's like poking and stimulating to see what's happening. And that's like the charm as well. This is a Leo gate, right? So the charm of your AC in the 56.6 is to use it to stimulate and see kind of what happens, what sparks. So it's fire, but it's initiating for a greater truth. But in the everyday with the 5 and the 56, I don't know, what's your, like, how does it look in an everyday setting for you? How do you do this in everyday life?
Okay. It's interesting. I have 11 as my design culture, and I always look, because I'm triple split, I'm always, quote, looking for 56, because though it can connect me. And I didn't dawn on me to the other day is like, oh, I have 56 within. I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting that I was like, yeah, I already have it.
But it's going to come with time, and the stories will come with time. It's part of the sensing circuit, and it's all about, what you've been through, what you've extracted, and the adventures you've gone on, because it's about taking and extracting that truth and knowledge and wisdom from the things that you've lived. And the 6 line's a role model. And in some ways too, it's going to be picky about who it's going to share with and when it's going to do that. And if you're on the roof or off the roof, and what part of your cycle that you're in. So it's about you going through things and allowing yourself to taste the flavors of life. I mean, you have the 35 and the 56, so you are going to be hungry. You will want to like kind of fill something in you. You're going to feel that hole. And in that journey and quest to fill, you're going to be able to understand, even what it is to be addicted to something, to have this thirst that is unquenchable, and to go on these adventures, and to rise as the hero, but then to also fall down and be the victim and be the savior and be all these different things, because your life is supposed to be dynamic, and it's supposed to initiate you too,
Yeah, that feels spot on.
And I have one more thing. So I do see a lot of things in Capricorn and Virgo as well. So I do see that you have a little bit of a challenge when it comes to the earth sign with Saturn there and with Pluto there. So there is like some kind of deeper lessons where we have teacher in Saturn and like more of that deeper transformation in Pluto. But we know that the role, how you're here to shine, is very fiery. So don't allow those kind of lessons that are there in Capricorn and Virgo to take away your fire. That's important. And the things that can be a little bit hidden, that we also speak about in the rising masterclass, is that you have quite a lot in the 12th house in Cancer. So your AC right there on the cusp, and then you have the drive of the moon and the drive of Mars, which are both impulsive drives. There is something with your emotions that sometimes you might not really have clarity on or want to see. So to like a little bit more of this feeling into what's really happening in the kind of hidden emotional plane, that will help you as well to really step into that rising. Because if you don't look at your 12th house and what's there, it's like you're not necessarily going to rise into your ascendant as fully, as if you start to get awareness of that 12th house Cancer and those activations with Lilith, the moon, and Mars there.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I've been working on that a long time.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Thank you.
We
thank
just
you,
gave you
thank
some
you.
confirmation. That's good.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Wonderful. Okay, let's see. Next up. Okay. Tabia. Oh, actually, I remember you from somewhere. Where were you recently? You were on one of our calls. I remember.
I was.
Hey,
Hey,
do you have a
sorry, I
question?
have video. No, I think I'm just so fascinated to just hear what you've got to say. I'd just be amazing if you can just feel into it and just grab what grabs you.
What are you grabbed with, the lead or the rising or the compass, your MC, AC, or your sun?
I suppose the one I feel like I haven't, I know the least about is the MC.
Okay, the MC. So you've got 12.4. Let's see, that's Gemini. So we've got
Oh my God.
MC up here. What else do you have in Gemini? You also have your unconscious Mercury, and let's see, we're close, but nope, that's Taurus. So it seems like you've got this gate of caution here. And this one, we call it the prophet. And 12.4, 12 is about being that discriminator, that discerner of what comes from the mind, what comes from the heart, what's pure, what's not, what do I share, what don't I share. We don't have your body graph, and I'm going to double check to see if potentially you have, I don't think you have the 22. Do you have
It's
a defined?
projector, right? You see that down, like she only has the 1A channel.
Oh,
so-
thank you. Yes. Oh, perfect. I didn't notice that. Yeah. So in a way, that 12.4 is going, it's on the other side of the 22, which links us to the solar plexus center. So what it is communicating, it's a very individual way, and it's a very artistic way too, but you're going to be cautious about sharing the emotional realm. And since you're a projector and you have an open emotional center, what it is that you're sharing from that realm is what it is you're filtering as well. I'm not sure if you have, she doesn't have a defined, do you know if she has a throat that's defined or not?
Yeah, 1/8 would be the throat and the G, right?
Oh yeah, you did say this one. I'm looking over here. Yeah, so I'm just wondering, I'm wondering what it is you do for a living already. Do you have a career? You have a job, so that I can kind of get an understanding of what it is that you already do.
So at the moment I don't. I was a program manager for a while, for a long time. That was my career. And then I'm sort of trying to move into coaching. That is my dream. And
Moving
I've
into
not quite, I've been too cautious.
Yeah, and that's normal because you are this prophet. If we're looking at the 12.4, it is speaking from the whole emotionality, the whole purity, the whole, like everything you are. It's an individual channel. So you have the individual channel 1.4, and then you have the 12, which is part of the channel of emotional openness, which you don't have the 22, but it comes out in a way that is very unique. And then I look at your chart, and you have the first gene key as your purpose, and your north node is also Scorpio. So it's going to take you a little bit of time to really ground into your body, because you are a very, very open projector. So to even dare to be here in the body and to really anchor on this plane can take a little bit of time to really ground into that purpose. That's when you find the naturalness, second line in yourself. And when you make peace with the soul lessons, fourth house of the soul, that you came into, work with. And then you are able to rise to your north node, and you have the 44 on both sides. So there is a fractal that's here to go deep with you and to go into transformation with you. So whatever kind of coaching you do, don't do anything superficial. Do something deep, because that's definitely, you have that north node in the 44, which is the grid worker. So the people that resonate with you, these are the people who are going to work with you. And then I think it's important too to say, because you have a lot of individual circuitry, that pushing doesn't work. It's part of this codon ring of fire, the 1 and the 14, that you can't make things happen. You can't make the pulse or the mutation happen. So there are going to be periods of time where there's not so much happening, and then there's going to be periods of creativity when so much happens. And as a projector, that might even be that kind of seasonal life in a way. You work a lot, and then you rest a lot, or you have a lot of pressure, or you like pleasure. It's like you're not necessarily here to be consistent. You're a storyteller, you're very sensitive, and you're here to hear what's here to be shared, but also to allow yourself retreat, because that's your lead, to be able to retreat when you're asked to rest.
Yes. How does that resonate?
Wow. Yeah, completely. It's like I just feel really seen.
Mhm.
It, and kind of just like, I can just take a breath and relax again. You know, I don't have to push myself to, and I feel it very deeply. I wouldn't want to do anything superficial. It would just not work for me.
Yeah. Oh,
And
but
if you decide to come
wonderful.
in with us to the movement masterclass, we're going to work with your 28.3 in your design Uranus, because that is like the quantum leap factor for you. So even your quantum leap factor, that is going to help with your creativity. It's going to help you to like go closer to the North Node. It's also Scorpio. So there is definitely part of that deeper journey, deeper waters with Scorpio, to want to come in and move you towards your soul trajectory, where the soul wants to go.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much.
So take your time and allow yourself to kind of take in and filter things. I saw that your vocation is 62.4. You're here to name it. You're here to be precise with what it is you're sharing. And so to just speak off the cuff without having that like that anchoring into the quintessence, the essential of what it is you're trying to communicate it would not land for others, and it would not feel right for you. So being able to discern and discriminate what needs to be shared, and also as a 6-2 going through your own kind of transformation with that hero's journey, you're here to be the medicine woman. You're here to share the stories as well, but you've got to go through them. And you've got to, extract the medicine, and you've got to be precise in the way that you're presenting it and the way that you're articulating it, and having those metaphors that help share with people that intangible energetic realm in a very practical, physical way, because that's what's going to land for people. So being able to sort through what you're experiencing like on the different energetic realms, and being able to translate that, because you're here to make peace with everything that you're taking in. You've got the 6.5 as your ascendant, so we're going to have conflict, diplomacy, peace, being able to approach those friction points, to be able to alchemize them, to see what medicine is here, and to share that. So take your time and let the mutation happen inside of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see. Okay, I've got Donna.
Maybe
Donna.
I do this one, and you do the next one, Ashley.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we get a bit more.
Yep.
Okay, so here we have a mutable cross. Donna, do you have a question for us, or like something you want us to look at?
No, I'm curious to hear. I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work. I'm 53 now. I think where I'm more curious just to hear your take on it. Because I am very intuitive. I do healing for other people. It's just, where am I taking it now? I think that's, I get stuck in I feel so much of the whole, and yeah, it's really me just honing in on where I'm taking it. Right.
So you're 4-6 generator on the cross of rulership. What stands out to me right away is that you're the other side of your lead. So your sun is the 22, but your earth is the 47. So that's the evolution, the edge of evolution, or your challenge in this life. And that is conjunct your ascendant. So in this life, if you have anything that is homework, or anything that you're here to rise up to and embody, it's definitely that 47. So you are here to clear karma. And we were saying that with the 44, it's a karmic cleaner. But here, when you have it in mutable earth in Virgo, it's kind of like through your own body, through your own way of being a priestess that walks through the world. And then you have so many things, including the North Node, and your leading Pisces. So you have definitely a lot of that axis with Virgo and Pisces, and that's something that we see also generational, of course, in your age. Actually, yeah, with your Pluto. So that being said, with Pisces as your lead and your North Node, I would not necessarily say that there is one fixed direction to take it. Like I said in the beginning, you have a fixed cross, and you're also 4-6, and you're a generator. So it's more like, what do you respond to as you're walking in the world with the people that recognize you and that love you? And the MC, the way that comes out is like, it has this, it's a queen of truth. You see, again, like you have it in the 9th house, like you have it on that side of the cusp of the 10th house. And it is Gemini. It's here to communicate. The 4-6 is here to communicate. And it's a 5th line. So it's a heretic as well. So there is something that you're communicating in the world through that axis of Pisces and Virgo, which is like beyond what's human, and then very much what's human and what's physical. So you have those two sides. And it's also kind of funny that in your case, you are Pisces in the 6th house. So you do Pisces things every single day. You're a healer every single day. But it's almost like that thing with the body might be a little bit more, where we have Pluto, where we have Ascendant, a little bit more as a challenge. With a 47 with a Virgo. So how can you tap in even more to Virgo, and not just like kind of the perfectionism of every day, but more this like priestess energy, the codon ring of alchemy, and the gene keys.
I lost you, but I don't know if you lost.
I think Bella's internet sometimes is not as stable.
What she, so actually,
Mhm.
while she's come on, I totally get that, because I'm truth queen, but it's taken me a long time to, have that gentle approach with people, because I see it and I've always been that person. And it was not, so I have cleared ancestral karma. I mean, that's what I've been doing. And I do more and more bringing it into my body. I never used to. I used to live outside my body. I had chronic illness, endometriosis, healed it all naturally, because I understand how to transmute it all. It's for me now, it's like, what do I play with? Because I have such a, I just have a playful aspect to it. And I find when I stand in that and the truth comes out, it's way easier, right? Like I really need to come from so that I don't project it as I know it, right? Necessarily, well, can't take it that way, right? And I've always been like, oh my gosh, I crushed somebody's heart, or right. And that's never my intention. It's just, that's where the masculine in me was so dominant. So so if there's anything else there, I'm curious with the 45. I know that that's more, what part of the chart is that? Oh, Bella's back now. What else that you might say from, that is the 45. That's the piece. Okay.
Yeah, it is your MC. Remember, that one is it's rulership. We've got the 45. It's the king or the queen energy, right? And it's what I call it the hub tree. So you're here to genuinely find that fractal and give altruistically to them. It's beautiful because you have the MC in the 45, and then you have the 27, which in that in the higher frequency, we have altruism. And it's like, are you giving from this overflow? You have to heal yourself first before you're going to be able to give to them. And you're here to create those nurturing spaces. But it can be quite intense, because half that ish is in the 8th house, which is Scorpio. So it may be intense the way that you're going to bring forth this truth that you're speaking about. So I'd say it's about cultivating these containers and these spaces of grace for healing to happen, where people can feel that trust to be able to surrender and let go. Because sometimes the intensity in that 8th house and any of those Scorpio aspects, like that, can not end up being healing. It can be too intense. And then we're like, what are we doing to our nervous system when we're doing that? So how can we have balance there? And what is the resources you're here to share as the hub tree with the 45? What resources do you have? What are people like projecting or requesting from you as well? And what can you deliver? And is there a new way that you are bringing through that transformation and healing?
Yeah, I hear you. Bella, I know we had lost you, so I don't know if there was anything else there. And I think one thing I also, and this might be something that other people want to understand, is when I look at, because you're doing this, all of this comes through the personality. Where does the body design chart play a factor in this?
Yeah, we're just focusing on the personality side, because to bring in the other side would be a lot of information for some people in the beginning. But remember that it's the body and the soul and the unconscious. And because you guys are already doing the work in the unconscious, you're already bringing through a lot of this stuff. So you can weave both of them together to see kind of like what is under the surface of this. Like, yeah, this is what you're rising and this is the career, but can we bring in this side too? That's living inside of you, that your soul's like, yeah, okay, we're going to bring this through. And I remember in the very first one we did, I think it was Elaine had the 9th house. You have the 9th house. A lot of people don't necessarily have the 9th house as their MC, but that's where we're speaking about that truth, because the 9th house is, for those of you that do have the 9 here, it is Sagittarius. It is about truth. And so your MC is going to be concerned with, maybe something that has to do with theology, philosophy, astrology, like these systems. You're going to want to bring in these systems into what you're doing. So you're going to have a kind of system that you're offering to people, a belief, some way that you're bringing that.
Right. Oh, I do. I needed to study it all and understand it all and live it all. And yeah, I get it. I love it. Okay. Thank you. I won't take up time for other people. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. There you are, Bella.
Yeah.
You're back.
Last day here. So
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, so I'm going to bring up this chart. I hope you can see it. It is kind of hard to see, but I did want to bring up this chart because I did see, and this one is Alana. Alana, did you have any questions before I dig into this?
Oh,
Alana.
hi. Amazing.
Hi.
I think I'm a seeker, which may or may not be obvious. I think right now I'm in this weird place. Not a weird place. It's the chronic place, but I'm really in a big transition, and I'm wanting to put aside some of the many, many different things that I do that I love, and really focus on something where I can put all my energy towards, for like doing the work in the world that is going to really support me, because I do so many different things, and I'm realizing I think I've been living against my design almost my entire life, and I think it's become a habit. And so any guidance around like really what my purpose or really where I should focus would be incredibly helpful. And I'm already going to do a session with you guys, but this would be a great start for me.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your chart too, Alana. I wonder what it is that you've been through in your life. I speak about the hero's journey for a lot of people that I'm tuning into. It just seems like a theme for the ones that I'm drawn to, because I'm seeing that you have a bunch of activations in the 6 and your MC is in the 36, which is compassion, turbulence, right? But in order for us to have compassion, we have to go through these moments that are really tough for us. We've got to meet that friction. You've got to enter that. You've got to find the peace through the conflict. And because you've got this axis, there's so much that you could have like friction or issue with, that maybe even you might avoid it because you're so tired of experiencing that. But then you are preventing yourself from kind of rising into that MC. And here we have another 9th house MC. So again, these systems and spirituality are going to be a big part of this realm. Yeah.
One thing I would say is I'm this incredibly optimistic person that's been suffering my entire life. And I think I haven't actually avoided it. I think if anything, I got into the habit of diving into every possible deep suffering place I could go, thinking that I could like go through that karma, and then I would like have this resilience. And I don't mind doing that, but I think maybe I don't need to continue to do it. And so maybe I could just make some choices that are about joy and happiness, and then facilitating that for others.
Yeah, you are a risk taker. You have taken those risks, and essentially you've been the 28.3 for a good majority of your life, where it was about, oh, we bumped up against this, better go deep into this. But at some point or another, I guess, like, those Scorpio waters of intensity, like you're kind of ready to like come up to the surface a little bit. But what are you going to come up to the surface with like the 33 and the 19 that you have on your body side? It's like, it's the medicine. It's what you've learned from it. It's how you can be that light in the world for people too, because sometimes the people that are going through the struggles and the darkness, like what did they need? Did they need the optimism? Did they need the light? Like, what is it that you can be for them that you're finding yourself kind of orienting to now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh no, absolutely. And so I'm curious, like, I think there's some themes, and maybe this isn't the place to ask the question. If it isn't, you just let me know. But like my themes are oriented in the tangible 3D world, which I like to live in the other worlds, but in the tangible 3D world, like things having to do with real estate, things having to do with facilitating the quality of life for others, things having to do with beauty. And it's like, I have so many things that I do and I've done, and I would love focus on, like, is there any indication about something specific that I really should, like, if I was going to have a specific genius about living a life purpose where there wasn't friction, because I'm used to friction, but I'm like, I don't know if I have to do it that way. Can you see anything that jumps out that you would make a suggestion towards?
Yeah, let me see. I mean, I suppose like for your life, like we have the 56.1 in your core in the realm of the 7, which is relationships and Cancer at the home. You're speaking about real estate. I'm seeing this Taurus activation over here. Like, what is nurturing? What is nourishing? When people are going through this time of difficulty or friction, like what can you create that is going to enrich them so that it can enliven them and invigorate them and bring in the optimism. So you know what it's like to be in friction. So great. What kind of space, what kind of resource, what kind of environment can you create that might make that experience a little bit better? You know, how can you make people more comfortable in that space of struggle so that they can feel like they have resources, that can feel triumphant, they can feel like they can get through it. Because let's face it, we're never going to get away from the friction, especially like with the different activations you have. But I'm seeing too, like sometimes it's just about being the light, being that compassion, being that ear. Because I mean, your IC on the other side of this is the family life. And so I don't know what you experienced in your home, but obviously there was that friction, there was that conflict there. And with the 3rd house, like I'm sure you dove into books or communication or literature or something. That's kind of what shaped you and molded you. So I'm wondering, instead of filling our life with the friction, instead of filling our life with the conflict, like looking to at the nourishment is what we're going to nurture ourselves with, what we're going to fill our homes with, like that. Does that, I mean, that seems like that's what you're alluding to too. So I would just say your rising is the 53. That's about new beginnings. The 53 is initiating. We call it the initiator. And there's something I feel like you're being drawn to in the 12th house, in the unconscious. Like it's there. It's like this cosmic start button where you're like, I need to start something new. So I would just say, like, follow that thread and go forward into that and see what now you can enrich your life into, because it's going to be so easy for you to find the friction point, for you to look at what needs to be fixed or corrected, to see that thing that you need to focus on, and maybe go against what you're used to and try something different. And like be and just recognize those points when you're like, oh, I'm going back into that pattern. Oh, I'm going back into that, because the 56 is also stop codon. You're here to end things. So is the 33, right? So what is it that you want to discontinue? No more of this. Let's just move forward.
So if I do a reading with you guys, because what you're talking about is absolutely correct. It is what I'm doing right now, with too much in my field. I feel like I still have too much. And if we do a session, can we zero in on some specificities around some of the practice I'm doing and how to like let go, like some insight about what to let go of and where to put more of my energy? Is that something that we could do in a reading?
Yeah, of course. And it's helpful to have, the human design body graph. I mean, right now we're looking at the natal wheel. I'd love to see like what's in your body graph without me trying to extrapolate in my head, like what channels and stuff that you have here. So I would definitely say that I think it's about discerning and defining like what it is that's in your field that you can finally like complete, because you have the 53, but do you have the 42? I don't know. I didn't double check, but
so much openness in this chart too, Ashley. It's only the 2750. So like super, super open.
Yeah, so let's kind of like empty out and see what it is that we can. Right now we're just focusing on a few points, but I think that if we can get a bigger picture of things and you can give us a little bit more details, we can definitely dig into this.
And also looking at, like, Ashley might give you super good advice with like just change something, but also knowing you're a fixed cross. And when you have like fixed water, fixed earth, fixed Leo, and fixed fire and fixed air, sometimes when we have 6 lines and we have that fixedness too, it's, sometimes we need some practical like kind of leaning in together to see how that can happen with your design, and also all that openness, because there are going to be protection mechanisms that are there for you. And deconditioning is about starting to take off the layers that don't allow you to live your true self. And a lot of how you're going to touch the world is through that 2750, but making sure that you're not doing it from the not self, but from the true self, that you're not functioning from the open centers, but you come back to your inner authority and your aura type. So an hour and a half, if you do that with us, you're going to have stuff for a while. And then you even have us on WhatsApp afterwards. For everything that was overwhelming, you can reflect on it after and get back to us. So that's the cool thing of working like, one-on-one or two-on-one with us.
No, that's super awesome. And I thought I did send you my body graph, but this has been super helpful. And
You might have.
no, that's totally fine. But I just want to thank you guys for the time, and I look forward to working with you.
Yeah, thank you too. I feel like you got it. You've got your finger on the pulse. You've got your finger on like, this is where I'm going, but we kind of need to lighten the load a little bit, right? We need to let go of the rest of the stuff. So
And that's what it is. I'm feeling overwhelmed. And so I think that's like really, and I feel responsible for everything. And so it's like, well, what if I just what can I responsibly let go of so that I can move forward a little bit lighter and more in my natural joy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, Bella, did you want to pull up some other charts? I do have to hop off.
I mean, I'm afraid because of my
You're afraid?
internet.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. People will get.
Because like, I don't know what happens when I'm out. You see, like even when I move, it's like weird.
Actually, when you get out, people stay because there's no waiting room. But I guess maybe also I'm a co-host, so it just stays like this for me. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I like when things are, I'm also fixed crust. I like when things work. So I don't know. I don't want to stay alone, I think, today. Unfortunately. But I would like you to, like, if you come to the inner circle, we are actually right now kind of re-understanding what people want in the inner circle. A lot of things are happening, but we are kind of listening, Ashley and me. We're not so much putting out new things. We have Business by Design. We have the Set Up Astrology series. That's the things that we're doing. And then we are listening to the inner circle. But out of like 50, 60 people, we have maybe 10 people showing up consistently. And the other people are doing a lot of the vault, a lot of the courses that are already there, and a lot of the replays. So we are kind of looking, who is our tribe that want to come and spend time with Ashley and me, like at least a few times a week for $44 a month. And like, I'm excited for that, because when we start to know people, that's also when so much starts to happen. So I would like invite everyone into the inner circle. And if you want to start with the recorded readings to kind of get a little bit more, actually I get a lot done in 20 minutes because there's an intake form before. Or if you want to go, of course, even deeper, you can work with us. But even the inner circle, like or Business by Design, like come with us and do more things. And we are going to do a similar thing on the platform. So we're going into the body, we're going into Saturn, we're going into Venus. On the design side, we're going into the purpose, so design Earth. So today, like somebody was asking before, this was only personality side. We're going into only the design side. We're anchoring. So that's the next place, the next trinity we're going into. So that's also a journey to come on. But we are going to do some kind of weaving with that, even to get you like a bit more kind of in tune with what that can be and what that could be for you.
Yeah, so I posted the BBD Merkaba reading in the chat right now, and then the Illumination Codes. And then, like I said, the Archetype Sale is 50% off of all of the archetypes. And then if you want to see where we're heading next, you can click on the calendar, and all the other previous BBD courses are in there too, if you want to check that out. But I definitely feel like more of these chart readings will definitely be available in the future, like public. And Bella will be in the States, so there'll be a little bit better of a.
I mean, I can do until I get kicked off next time. But if I get kicked off, I just feel like I can't serve, in the way that I want to serve.
I would do a few more maybe, and then just see when you get kicked off. I don't know how many that we did, but definitely next time we'll block 90 minutes too, and that way we have enough time. And we may even like have you guys submit and maybe do chart readings like live or whatnot without you guys having to be here, but you can submit your charts. So we'll see kind of how we can do this, because I know you guys are super curious and interested in this. So you want to pick?
I can't open the charts. I was gonna take Laura. I saw Laura's chart.
Our Laura?
No, I don't know. No, another Laura.
Romero.
I clicked on it, but it's not opening for me.
Click on it twice and then it opens on your, it'll download and then it'll open. Usually. I hate to leave you.
Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave this. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, there's a couple Lauras.
Laura, I only have your human design, so we would have to look at the lead. Do you have a question connected to your 51.5, your Aries sun?
I can actually give my ascendant and my MC.
Mm-hmm.
MC is 42.4 and my ascendant is 33.6. So it's Leo 12 degrees ascendant and Midheaven Aries 23 degrees.
33.6, yes.
Yeah. What I'm curious about is how all this works together with my culture and pearl being 12.
Mm-hmm. Well, the 33 is also a storyteller. Right? And so we have a lot of throat gates here where we have the 12 that you have in what your law is. On an everyday basis, you're here to express yourself in this very individual way from the throat. And with the 33, it's actually connecting to your 13. It's not a channel because we're not making it a channel in the body graph, but it's giving you kind of a sense of self when you're able to express the 12 and the 33 in a high frequency. And there is something with the 33 being your AC that we say that's part of your homework. It's not as natural as it is as natural as your sun sign and as your midheaven, but it's also a little bit more impulsive. It's also a little bit more like something that you have that you have to start to embody and rise up to in this life. I also wonder if there is any kind of fear of failure, because that 42 as your MC, it's here to celebrate. It's part of like you're here to be recognized for celebrating. But I don't know, as a 5-1, you're also usually kind of like, you're usually kind of perfectionist. So I wonder, like, how are you celebrating life as part of your work? Or is there any kind of fear of failure that's not allowing you that? Because even the 12 has this caution of not like completely just living it out. And the 5th line that can be, have the throat cut off. It can also have a bit of that, caution to speak truth. Do you feel like you're speaking the truth? Do you feel like you have a sense of who you are, where you're going, what love is, even if your G center is open?
I've had a lot of success, but the big projects that I was called to do didn't happen, and I've had to kind of completely retreat and be a hermit for quite a while and retrain in a lot of skills, and I feel like I'm just about to go out again.
Right. I mean, that's also what we can see with all your integration channels. So the 12 and the 57 and the 34, it's like sometimes you're just not available for others, and it's part of your functioning. So it's good. Your life is going to have periods, and I think too, with open root, open emotional center, and open ego, those are motors, and there's a lot of energy filtering. So even like this thing of like the overwhelm of other people's emotions, or the overwhelm of like not really knowing what worthiness is, or the overwhelm of the stress that's there too, is like coming back and just kind of grounding into your own rhythm as your own Black Panther, as your own intuition, as your own awareness, away from all that that's going on that you're impacted by. Yes,
exactly. I wish I'd known that 5 years ago.
Right. Well, and just another thing I see is that your Mars, your EQ, and kind of how you act in the world or how you penetrate the world is actually conjunct your MC. So that is powerful too. You get the drive and that kind of like, again, penetration force from Mars to actually step up to and be seen in your midheaven. But again, what I feel there is so important to not fall into seriousness. Even with that 57 in your evolution, it's like, oh, you know, the fear of tomorrow, and like maybe we're not going to have everything we need. So important to bring in the 42 that says like, yeah, some things are going to die, some things are going to live. Like like a little bit of detachment feels important in how you're actually able to, as well, like we were saying with somebody else, like initiating what you're here to initiate from being a heretic, from that defined throat, from that fifth line in your lead.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
Can you say that a bit more about how the 13 connects with the 33, which is the ascendant, as the vocation and the ascendant?
They don't connect in the sense that they create definition. That is super important when we bring in points that are not even planetary bodies, or even when we bring in asteroids, because they are kind of far away. We don't change the way the body graph works, but it gives you that sense of like, you know, maybe not having to seek outside of yourself, but actually finding that imprint somewhere. So it does help to know those points, because it kind of gives you access to the whole process, where otherwise the 13 could just like, you know, hear all the secrets in a way, and hear everything between the line, and have the discernment, but in some way not have the whole medicine, which is also to live the experience of it and then retreat and integrate. You know, so it's almost like the 13 is like gets everything from the outside, and that in an open G center is like, oh, like I don't even know, like there's so much input, and there's so many secrets in a way, there's so many stories. What is my soul going? Like, what does my soul love? Where is my soul going? Who am I? So I feel like with the 33, you can get a better sense of what you're here to express, and what's actually, you know, what you're here inherently, because the rising sign is what's on the eastern horizon. So it's something that we are inherently. So when you tap into that, it's going to also kind of alchemize things in your G center, is what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Who else has a question? Let's start with that. Without like, who else has a question? And then when you have a question, you put your chart. You could just, yeah. Who is brave?
I'll go since I'm on camera.
Yes. Hi, Katie. Oh no, who was speaking? Michelle.
Oh, Michelle.
Oh, I thought it was Katie. I saw two people unmute, but let's start with whoever was speaking.
Oh, that was me, Michelle.
Mhm.
Do you want me to drop my chart back in?
Yeah, please. So that, yeah, then I'll pull it up.
Okay. It's not a chart, but I have the house and the signs right next to it also, so you can kind of see the whole thing. And my question is, both my my AC and Sun are in my first house Pisces, squaring my my MC, which is conjunct my Neptune. And I'm sure that I've just continued to overthink this, but it's always kind of been I feel like I can't really figure out what what my focus for my MC would be, with both of the others kind of squaring them. And I'm just I'm at a point of deep frustration and trying to figure out what I'm here to do work-wise and be recognized for. But I feel like the three of them interplaying together, I've just kind of overthought.
Right. Well, we had another person before, right, that had the 22 lives work, and a lot of that Pisces, Virgo. And in your case, I also saw that, yeah, your ascendant is a 55, so that's also Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
And if we would just look at what we are actually looking at today, your ascendant, yeah, so you have lead in Pisces, and you have ascendant in Pisces, and then your MC is Sagittarius. So it's water, very, very out there, not really saying this is exactly what we're doing. Your fifth line, of course, because it's the mental line, the 5 and the 6, it wants to know exactly, but it's not really, you know, I don't see that necessarily with ascendant and the and the life's work in Pisces that you're really going to know exactly. And at the same time with the MC in Sagittarius, which is a completely different energy. Like I wonder if maybe you would focus a little bit more on the MC for a while and see how that changes from kind of just the unlimitedness of Pisces.
Yeah, I'm really trying to figure out my MC, because I relate so deeply to my Pisces. And I just, the MC keeps eluding me, and I think that I'm giving too much weight to my Pisces because that's just what's so familiar to me. And to come into this deep focus of and boldness of Sagittarius, I'm just like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what it is exactly that I'm here to be recognized for in that, because I'm so used to being seen as this Piscean energy.
I mean, it's very important that the fire comes in, because even your Chiron is a fire sign. And then with your Neptune, which can veil things, is a fire sign. And then your radiance is a fire sign. It's also Sagittarius. So maybe, you know, if there's anything from after today, it is to explore the fire, and especially the Sagittarius, which is the fire of truth. It's not just the impulsive fire of Aries or the kind of leadership fire of Leo. It's much more that fire that's connected to truth. And looking at your radiance, you know, it's like playing with all the archetypes, like the fire of the darkness and the fire of the light and the fire of everything in between. So it feels like archetypal in many senses. And the same thing as we said to somebody else, it's like you need time to just be busy with your own flow. Like that seems important. When you are, I think that your 5 is going to start to be like, oh, this is my rhythm, this is my fire, this is what I'm here for. But if you are, you know, if you are hanging out a lot in the expression kind of Pisces here with the 22 and the 30, I feel like there's something more of that generator animal that you are, that kind of like is a little bit not super alive. And I think that by coming back to your sacral, by coming back to your 5, by coming back to your Black Panther, the 34, which is also Sagittarius, you're going to start to embody a little bit more of that kind of the density of the impulse of your being, you know?
Okay. All right. I can kind of feel that coming through. And I think it's just the familiarity for so many years of allowing myself to just kind of be in the Piscean. Every time I feel that fire really pulling me out, I'm like, oh, wait, this isn't who I am. But it's just going to take me owning the fire aspects.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And I mean, your moon is also Pisces. So this is also when, you know, like when you look at the wheel, and you would have like, those of you that are kind of new with this, like I even have to like look a little bit to be like, what's here. But like, yeah, if you would have the wheel, we would be able to see more like what is in the red parts. I like this chart, of course, because it has the life's work and all the things. This is a smart chart, but it takes a little bit of time to orient with something new. But I would say, yeah, fire and integration channels. That's your homework. And then I think a lot is going to unlock.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I feel complete.
Thank you. Well, I don't see myself on my screen, but I see Rachel with camera and then hand up. So you are on my screen, you have camera on. What's your question?
Hi, I put my chart in just now. And so my question is about, so my son is 36, which is about, I just forgot, but it goes through crisis and chaos to compassion. So it's about turbulence. And then the programming partner is what we were just talking about with someone else, the conflict to peace, I think.
Yes.
And I really resonated with what Alana was saying about, I have a lot of this crisis stuff going on in my life, and I'm able to hold that. That's part of, you know, I've walked through lots of fires, and I can stand there and hold someone's hand through the fire. But with my business, that what I have attempted to do as a coach, I keep kind of starting things and it's not right, and I'll start again, and then I kind of run out of emotional bandwidth. And so I really pulled pulled back to try to follow my strategy and authority. So I didn't start something that was incorrect or I wasn't going to have the energy to follow through with. And now I'm just kind of, it's been over a year and I'm feeling very stagnant, and I'm not sure when there is so much kind of conflict and chaos, you know, like how to handle that. Do I like, I don't want that. I want to have the peace and the compassion, but it feels like it's so prominent in my chart that like if something is feeling turbulent and unsettled, is that like a sign to not go that way? Are you following anything I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And the emotional authority is very difficult to follow because my emotional roller coaster. Yeah,
definitely. So you have the same incarnation cross as Ashley. You're a 5-1 and you have the same thing. She's flipped. She has 6 in her life's work and 36 under, and then flipped with the 15 and the 10. I mean, you are here to deal with the material plane. That's 5-1 and the cross of the planes, and then you have a Capricorn North Node. So you are here to kind of be stable through the storm. What I can see in your chart that is like possibly throwing you off is that you have a split. So a lot of your life is like trying new things, and then the storm is broken, like breaks free, and then you're off center. So the main thing I would say is to go back to your authority, your aura type. So you're sacral, you're a generator. So your sacral needs to be inhabited by you. And you also have a staying power when you're grounded into your root, when you're in your sacral, when you're in your energy. So for me, it's so important that you actually embody this part of the chart. And then I don't think that the 36 is going to like throw you off so much. It feels super important for you to come into the second chakra, the first chakra, your life force, your belly, your intuition of the body, your gut, knowing who you are, knowing what you're going, like knowing what love is. And then I feel like when you're home, the expression is going to be easy. And I also have a completely open ego, that there can be something with also worthiness when we are like those transpersonal profiles and we're here to kind of save the world, I guess. And then we kind of like feel like it doesn't really work, or it's not really right for us, and we feel drained. Then that goes to that place of, I don't know what the point of what a reference or worthiness is. So that's kind of when we start to kind of slap ourselves in some way. And then you have an open-headed Ajna, so then that goes into your own psychosis like it does for me. Like, does that resonate somehow for you?
Yes.
So really, again, here for you too, it would be go back to, your natural behavior. The Black Panthers, like, I don't care. Like I'm the queen of the jungle. I'm just going to eat when it feels right. I'm just going to hunt when it feels right. That's an ally in this. Like, you behave in your own, you find your own jungle and you behave as natural for you. The staying power, what's easy to focus on? Where do you feel like you could just sit as a mountain in bliss of what's there and just have your sacral energy being regenerated, 952. And then this is about the right people. So as a 5-1, you're all, a 5-1 with this channel, you're here to also possibly manage have people that are there, that are in your tribe. And it's partly for you to discern who is supposed to be who are you supposed to keep around you. With the 32 and the 54 as well, like, who are you supposed to have around you? Because there is a support that's really important with this channel, but it might be that you're so much like trying out things, so you don't even know where your true support is or how that feels.
Yeah, I've been I feel very unsupported in a lot of ways. I left basically my religious community, and I'm a single mom, and now my kids are grown, and I'm very much kind of a lone wolf. That doesn't feel very good.
No.
Yeah. So.
No, and you have some of that interesting polarity duality in your chart too, because you have the 22, like you also have Pisces gates, like some of the other people that came. So it's like you're here to kind of be the anchor in the storm, but then there's also this sensitivity and like this ability to kind of see beyond everything and to kind of be the invitation to grace. So I mean, you're somebody who's very multifaceted, and it feels like in order for that to really be expressed, I really want you to come back to your grounding, your root, your like, the circulation, the tantric circulation of life force. Like when that's there, I feel like you even will attract the people that are here to support you. But if you're not really home in you, how can you even attract them?
Yeah. And that is what I have been focusing on, the last several months, over a year, just to come back home to myself and not take any major movements and not be pulled into all these different ideas. But I am also at this point where I really do need to take some action to, create a business, because my, just financially, I'm at that point. And so is there any clue as far as, like as a self-employed person, as a coach, maybe the best avenues, maybe partnerships or
I mean, you have
I've worked
looking
I've
at
worked
your
as a coach in the health field and sexuality, and actually post-religion deprogramming.
I like that you have so powerful soul connections. Like all of those channels are, read the whole way. So it's like part of your soul, your embodiment, to be those channels. And I also see with your protocol or your culture, everyday law in a first line, that you are really powerful on a one-on-one basis and helping people ascend. And the 54 is the serpent path, right? So like, I feel like you're completely right, that people are like rising to their own life force. And that's also when they, they can actually see that religion is not necessarily, what they are here to hold on to. But I definitely feel that, it's hard to say like the whole thing from here, because I don't know you enough, and I don't like, I would need to have the other parts in the kind of Business Merkaba to be really able to pinpoint you. But I see as well that you are here to celebrate. So you need somebody to celebrate with. I have a third line pearl as well. And that's like very future oriented. The fifth line is also kind of, seeing the solutions for what's coming. And I think also with your moon, like you're here to mirror people, reflect people in a tantric way, very naturally. But that also requires that you work with the right people and that people are accepting your invitation.
So the AC and the MC, is that shown here? Is that
No.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was a crossover. Okay.
So you
All
would
right,
you
interesting.
want to look at the wheel, like the astro aid, like, so the genetic matrix, for example, has it. That's the one that Ashley was pulling up those parts in the beginning, because you kind of want to see the geometry of the wheel as well, with the signs and all that. Or just do a mini reading with me and Ashley, and then we can like really go, like you can write whatever you want to like have main focus on in the intake, and then we can really like, then we pull out a chart for you, and you will have more of a weaving of the Business Merkaba, like Ashley was saying, like using the pearl sequence and all the other points that are supporting us to see like, what is it that you're here to express, and how is it that you're here to embody.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so what's happening?
Hello?
Katie, are you back?
I am.
Okay,
I
cool.
I put both my charts in there, but I don't know if you can see them. I put the wheel and my graph.
Yes, I see a screenshot of your wheel. Let's see how it's going to look on that screen. Oh, you're a 4-6. Let's see, how can I move this around? It's very small. What's your question, Katie?
I'm confused about the IC. I don't know why, but I'm having trouble grasping it.
The AC or the IC?
The IC.
Okay, what's your confusion?
what purpose does it serve? Exactly what, I mean, what's the
Okay.
focus? If you're looking out from the IC, what are you supposed to be focusing on?
Well, the MC is the cusp of your 10th house. You see, you between the 9th house and the 10th house, you have the MC. That's the highest point in the sky when, you know, in the moment you're born. So the other side, the lowest point of the sky, which is the cusp of the 4th house, the cusp of family, is the IC. So that's something that you probably have experienced in your family. So you have the 55 point, is it the 55? 55.2. So there is something with Pisces, with victimization to freedom, a second line of mirroring that's there in your childhood that could in a way keep you forever, possibly in victimization, because that's one of the keynotes, or in not being natural, not having, you know, healthy mirroring with the other, that would never allow you to step into the intimacy that you're here to shine as in the world and that you're here to be an authority in. So it's like, it's almost like the IC would keep you in the shadow patterns of the karma and the dharma, which you also can see between your purpose and your attraction sphere in the gene keys in a bit of a different way. It's like what's keeping you repeating the same patterns of your karma and dharma and not actually getting to your expression. So in the gene keys, it will be staying in the bottom of your hologenic profile, never going up to your pearl and your life's work. Here we see it in terms of the axis of the wheel, where we say, are you going to stay in the 4th house Pisces all the time, or are you ready to rise up to what you're here to be seen for? Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
And would you say something about how you are stepping into that 59 in the world, or maybe how you have been kept in the 55 related to something that was there in your upbringing? Like, would you comment anything on that, just
Well,
like a minute?
Yeah, I mean, sure, I get the victimhood situation. I get the not wanting to step out. I think it's more of a self-worth than a victim for me. But I feel like on a lot of levels, at least outwardly, I feel like that has been addressed, but there's still some remnants that I can feel blurping around on the inside, you know, that is still there.
Right. Yeah, and that's when you will get help by your, you know, also your life's work and your ascendant to like step into more of you. And I love what you said also, like I see that you have between the channel and the Ajna, you have the 23-43 defined, and then you have the 47-64 defined. So we know you have a lot of openness and that your ego is open. So also looking at that open ego, what are the themes? What are the hanging gates maybe? Or if it's completely open, like those are themes that are there as well. That can, like when you embody that, not live that ego from the not self, that's also how you're able to step more into your MC. So looking at the openness and where in the openness there could still be some not self themes.
I see. So I should probably, in order to really step into my power, be looking at more garbage in the not self that I haven't maybe taken out.
Yeah, and like use like also like even just your like your movement, breath and sound and all these kinds of things to move out. Like with that much openness, you wanna be able to like even physically in the densest energetic realm as well to move out what doesn't belong.
And I need to like understand it in my mind before I can get rid of it. So I'm not like one that can just get rid of it. I need to like track it back and be like, okay, I know the moment where I took that on as me. And that is not me. So that's a lot of, but I have
and
to
that
do
is that
process.
23-43 like that you have like it needs to kind of like it needs to drop in before it can act on it. It's just the way it works. So it's good that you have that awareness.
Yeah, for sure. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, everyone, I'm actually going to go in to do the body and more of that kind of embodiment and breath and movement and sound. We're going to look at a lung meridian today in the body call in exactly 28 minutes. So I need to tend to my mom, and then I need to get ready for that call. If you want to be part of the inner circle and come in for $22, text me in the next 28 minutes and I'll make sure that you get the link and come into the inner circle for that call. And otherwise, keep watching out for when we do the chart reading for Design Venus, Design Saturn, and Design Earth, which is the next trinity where we're going in the Merkaba, the very kind of heart of our being. So thank you everyone for coming, and I hope the next time we'll do some of the charts we didn't do today. Bye.
Thank you.
you all. Bye.